Some stories begin with discovery. This one begins with a scream carried through space from a ship that was never meant to come home. This is the story of the Vigilant.
The year was 2572, and humanity had finally stepped across the threshold of its cage. For centuries, faster-than-light travel was only theory, a dream of scientists scribbled into textbooks, whispered through generations. They said the stars were too far, that even if life waited beyond the dark, we'd never reach it. Then, the breakthrough came. The Astreus drive, a machine that folded space like paper, collapsing millennia into weeks. It cost decades of blood, ruin, and quiet funerals to make it real. But when the smoke cleared, there it was, a door to the stars. The first ship to carry it was called the Vigilant, a kilometer of polished metal and human pride, gleaming silver in the black. It wasn't built for war. It was built to prove that we could leave home and survive it. Captain Elena Varga stood before her crew as Earth shrank to a blue spark behind them. "For 5 centuries," she said, "we have wondered who is out there." Her voice shook only once. "Tonight, we stop wondering." When the drive engaged, the universe screamed. Stars bent inward. The ship twisted like a living thing, pulled through directions no map had names for. Metal groaned, teeth cracked, people prayed and cursed and clung to their seats. Then, silence. The Vigilant had crossed the gulf. For the first time in history, we were no longer bound to one sun. They thought the worst was behind them. They were wrong. The system they entered was old. Its star burned red and swollen, casting bloodlight over broken worlds. One of those worlds was different. It was bigger than Earth, wrapped in yellow clouds that churned like poison. Scanners found a pulse of energy deep beneath the storms. Not lightning, not natural. It was a structure. Black, angular, sharp as glass. Half sunken in a swamp of sulfur and stone, still humming with power. Someone had built it. They called it the monolith. They should have called it a warning. The landing team touched down at dawn. Lightning flashed through yellow haze as they stepped onto the surface. The air boiled against their suits. Sulfur burned their filters. The smell of death was everywhere. Captain Varga led them to a gaping entrance at the base of the structure, dark as a throat. Ridges lined the walls like teeth. Dr. Marcus Hale, their chief scientist, whispered what everyone was thinking. "It's not a ruin, it's waiting." Inside, the storm fell away. Sound itself seemed swallowed. Their suit lamps reached only a few meters before the black consumed them. Walls breathed faint light, veins of molten orange pulsing under the surface. Something moved, deep within the stone. Or maybe the stone itself was alive. "Stay tight," Varga said. Her voice cracked with static. They advanced. Their boots crunched on brittle crystals that flexed beneath their weight, like walking on the shell of something still growing underneath. A fork appeared, 2 corridors. Varga took one team left, Hale took the right. His light flickered against gouges carved deep into the walls. Claw marks, curved, deliberate, and scattered across the floor, fragments of something once alive. He picked one up. It was chitin, still warm. He dropped it fast. The comms hissed. Then a scream, cut off by static. "Left team, report," Varga shouted. No answer, only a scrape, long and metallic, like claws against stone. They regrouped at the fork. The left team was gone. Only a single rifle lay on the floor, barrel eaten through by acid. Then came the sound again, closer, breathing, wet and deliberate, not through a mask, not human. The haze stirred. Something massive shifted just outside the light, and the soldiers fired. Bolts of plasma scorched the dark, but when the glow faded, there was nothing. Then the scream came again. A body lifted off the ground, slammed into the wall, gone. Another soldier fired upward, hitting something that rippled like water. For an instant they saw it, 6 limbs, a hide like cracked stone, a face with no eyes, only vents that exhaled vapor and rhythm. Then it was gone. The thing was hunting them, by sound, by breath, by heartbeat. They fled down the corridor. The creature followed, silent until it struck again, each time faster, each time closer, until they stumbled into a great hall lined with black pillars like broken teeth. In the sulfur haze, faint shapes moved, not one, many. Dr. Hale whispered the truth none wanted to hear. "It's a pack." The clicks started then, sharp, patterned. 3 clicks, pause, 2 clicks, pause, again and again. It wasn't random, it was copying them. When they fired, it fired back. perfectly timed echoes in the dark. It had learned their rhythm, it had learned their language, and then it dropped from the ceiling. The creature hit the ground in the middle of their circle, scattering men like dust. The air turned white with plasma fire and screams. When the haze cleared, half the team was gone. One rifle still smoked on the floor. One helmet rolled to a stop. "Fall back!" Varga yelled, but the sound of her voice sealed her fate. The creature moved toward the noise, not the light, and took her first. The survivors ran blind through sulfur fog. Every breath gave them away, every prayer, every curse. Behind them came the scraping, the clicks, and the breathing. When they reached the shuttle, only 6 remained. They sealed the hatch, gasping for air. No one spoke, no one celebrated, because even as they lifted from the surface, they still heard it, that soft, patient clicking. It followed them home. When the Vigilant reached orbit, the crew was broken, hands trembling, eyes hollow. Dr. Hale kept whispering to himself, "Not many, one." They sealed the shuttle bay. They tried to rest, but the sulfur smell lingered, seeping through the vents. Hours later, the alarm sounded, hull breach, movement in the shuttle bay. Varga's voice came through comms, just once before the signal died. "They're on the ship." The lights flickered red, then went dark. And in that dark, the clicking began again. They hunted it through the halls, or thought they did. Every squad swore they heard it nearby. Breathing, crawling, whispering. Some opened fire into empty shadows, others vanished mid-sentence. By the end of the first night, half were gone. By the second, only 3. Hale was the last. He hid on the bridge, clutching his notebook like a Bible. Every word he wrote came out the same. It hunts by sound. It adapts. One is enough. He triggered the FTL drive, overrode every safety. The ship screamed as space folded around it. Metal tore. Lights died. The Vigilant vanished into the dark. Weeks later, Earth received a distress beacon. The Vigilant had returned. Barely. Rescue teams boarded what was left. The corridors were veined with black resin. Walls pulsed faintly as though something beneath still breathed. They found him there, Dr. Marcus Hale, sitting against a bulkhead, alive, barely. His skin was blistered, his eyes raw, his voice cracked from screaming. He looked up at the rescuers and said, "We searched for life." He coughed, blood spattering the floor. "We found it. It hunts. It adapts." He clutched one man's arm, staring through the visor. "We thought there were many." His grip tightened. There was only one, and one was enough. When they pulled his hand away, the notebook slipped from his fingers. Its pages were covered in one word, written again and again. Click, click, click. And in the silence that followed, they heard it. A single, deliberate sound from the darkness of the ship's lower decks.
If the story kept you by the fire tonight, leave a like to feed the flames, and subscribe for the next Whisper in the Dark.